Hi everybody. It feels like it's been forever since I've gone live and my camera looks a little bit foggy. Let me see if that fixed anything. Maybe a little bit. I feel like I am half prepared, so that's good. Hi Kayla. I was not able to go to church this morning for my normal routine, so I feel a little bit like I'm forgetting something. Because I stayed home with our youngest, who had a very low fever yesterday with no other symptoms, and we kept him home today just in case he had something else wrong. So he was acting really fine today, so I'm not thinking that there was anything wrong. So we hung out here and I ran errands this afternoon, so I was able to get a couple of projects prepared, and we might make the third one on the fly because I just did not have quite enough time to put together a third project for tonight. But the first two are really cute, and so I thought that I would work on those with you guys. I also wanted to go over just a couple of things. I shared an image on my Facebook page just a little bit ago about a new bundle that is coming out here in the next, I think it's coming out November 1st for customers. For demonstrators, hi Sherry. For demonstrators, we were allowed to start pre-ordering this super cute bundle. And actually, it's more like a suite because... Thank you for sharing. The suite has 2 stamp sets and 1 set of framelits. It also comes, or doesn't come with, everything is separate. So nothing is a bundled price. And so if you don't like all of it or you want to get some of it, that is a really fun option. So I have a couple of them that I already pre-ordered, and then I had to spend some of my points because every year we have a new, the snowflake set is the one that I got. So this one, so every year in the end of October, all of the points that you have earned as a demonstrator all year long either have to be spent or they go away. So I usually will try really hard to save mine in hopes of either getting to pay for our conferences, which are called On Stage, or I like to spend them to purchase more product. And so I was able to cash in some of those rewards so that I can purchase more product to make more things. This one, and I know that I'm reversed, but this one is super fun. I'm super excited to use this one. And then the framelits, I've only opened it to peek momentarily. So the cool part about this one is that it comes with two of these. So they're beautiful. I'm sure there will be more people coming in and out. It's pretty chill on here. So these are the framelits that come in this suite. And then there's one other stamp set that comes in this suite, or comes available to this suite, but they're super cute, and I think that the other stamp set is in my cart to hopefully get into my next order with those bonus points that I earned. So that is a really, really fun suite that will be available soon. It also has some cute little snowflake embellishments that are, I think there's two different types of snowflakes that are really pretty, and some white velvet 12 by 12 paper, which I did get. And it's hard to see on the screen, so I'll try to do an up close with that when I make my project. I'll probably go live with one of those on a Sunday Night Live stamping, probably the first part of November. So I'm going to play around with it a little bit more, and then we'll make some projects together after that point. So another thing I wanted to talk about is I am a part of a group right now that is all trying to help us grow our business, and it's called Team Silver Elite, because that is a goal that everyone who's in that group has in common. And so the challenges that we have in that group are weekly challenges, and so our goal is to complete these challenges as best as we can. Some of them have been kind of difficult, having a very full schedule, and not having a ton of a customer base at this point, which is the point of going through these challenges, is to gain the confidence and the experience to encourage us to build our business. So I'm really enjoying that group, and one of the challenges for this week actually is to have a little mini commercial. Hi, Shelly! And so I just thought I would tell you guys, because you're my people, what some of my favorite things about being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator are, and the things that I want to share with anyone who wants to know. And so I joined Stampin' Up! Just over 3 years ago, because my anniversary was on my birthday on September 29th. And I mainly did it because I have been a Stampin' Up! Fan for many, many years. And my sister and I, actually, Kayla, who's on here, she and I used to get enough so that we could have our own party and get all the rewards, and then we would share the goodies back and forth. Well, I'm sure I used them way, way more than she did. But I know she has scrapbooks that have Stampin' Up! Stamps in them too, so I know that she did enjoy it at one time. But I joined 3 years ago because I wanted to get that discount. Because when you join, you get a 20% discount. And then the next advancement, which happened very fast, I'm going to say it probably happened in a month, because of how excited I was to have access to all of these goodies at a cheaper price. I know that once I advanced, I got, hi Meg, I was able to get a 25% discount, which was huge to me. Hi Carol. So those were two of the main reasons that I joined up. But another one was definitely because I had been following my team leader, Robin, probably since I was pregnant with my son, Braden. So he is 11. So I had been following her for several years on her blog and just learning all kinds of fun, crafty things from her. And I really, really wanted to be a part of her team. So thanks for sharing. I wanted to be a part of that team. I wanted to get to know her people. That community was something that I was craving very, very much after moving away from most of my friends that like to craft or create. That kind of an online community was just what I was looking for. And so having that in with Stampin' Up! Was a huge blessing to me, to get to do that with like-minded people who like to do the same thing that I do. And so those were huge, huge perks. And the fact that as a demonstrator, we only have to purchase or sell $300 worth of product in a quarter. So I have like 3 months to sell that much, which if you're like me, you just save every little penny that you can and you buy it yourself, and then you're fine. Hi, Jenna. So it happens really, really easily because I love to craft and create, and I always like new stuff. So those are some of my main reasons that I love Stampin' Up. And so I just thought, since I had that challenge from that team, I would tell you guys why I love it so much. And that's a part of why we do what we do, so that we can share it with others in case someone else like me is looking for something like that. So I'm here to answer any questions that you have about that, but that's enough of my commercial and we'll just get to crafting, because I have some super cute projects tonight that are using this adorable coffee cafe stamp set and the framelits that coordinate with that. They are no longer in a bundle, but they still coordinate together, so even though you have to get them separately, it's still worth it because they're amazing. So I'm going to cover up my camera and flip you down, and we will get to crafting. So I'm going to try to do this without shaking you all over the place. And I did not practice my mount since I was gone, so I'm going to try to do this. Where it will hold. There we go. And I'm shaking you like crazy, but I don't want you to fall off. Okay. I'm so sorry if that was shaky all over the place. And I'm gonna scooch my table. When I set things back up again, I knew that I was going to be off just a little bit, but that'll be good. We'll leave it there. And I am going to turn on my computer so that I can hopefully read comments if anybody has any questions. I think since I have my big computer in here, we'll be able to find myself. There we go. How's everybody doing tonight? It is wet and snowy. Hi, Mama. Wet and snowy here in Rochester today. It pretty much snowed all day long, which doesn't bother me when it melts right away. I love fall, and so I know that I would not want it to leave. I would not want it to leave so fast. But I love snow, and I think it is beautiful, and I'm okay with it. Malachi is doing much better. He had a very low grade temp yesterday, and did not have one at all today. So I think that most of it has probably, oops, I'm gonna move my cord really fast. I think his fever was mostly done yesterday. So let's see if I got that this time. Okay, hopefully it's done. So yes, I'm glad that he was only a little bit whiny, and I don't think it was ever anything super, super bad. All right, so the first card that we're going to make today, I thought that we would pull out for both of our projects. We're going to use the First Frost. I'm pretty sure that's what this one's called. I hope so. Nope, it's Frosted Floral. I'll have to correct that in my post. This designer series paper is so beautiful, and I love everything about it. I love that it is shimmery. It is specialty paper. So here's my favorite piece in the whole thing, which we are going to use today because I love it so, so much. I bought 2 packs of this paper because of this sheet, this one. It is so beautiful, and I am tempted to just frame just the paper itself because of how pretty it is. It has the shimmer, so it kind of shines on both sides, and it has tons of different color combos in this cardstock. So, or paper, it's not really a cardstock consistency. So, you guys have seen me, I think I've made items or cards or projects with this paper at least 3 times because of how much I like it. So beautiful, beautiful paper. So we are going to use that in both of our cards. And then if, I'm going to turn that light on too. If we have time, we just might come up with a 3rd card as well. So, excuse me, had a little bit of a tickle in my throat today. So I have some of our project already pre-cut out, mainly because I'm going to take a little drink of my coffee. Maybe the tickle will go away. Okay. So I cut out some of them because there's a couple of things on this card that are going to take us a little bit of time because I want to use this frosted white shimmer paint in our card today. We are going to put this paint around the edge of our stitched shape framelit cutout. Now this is Tranquil Tide cardstock, and oh good, I did have my brush is right here, so we're just going to use a little paintbrush to do that part. These are the layers that we're going to have our card, and so this is Blushing Bride, that is Tranquil Tide, and then that is from the Frosted Floral Designer Series paper. So that is some of the goodies that we're using. The stamps that we're going to use are from the Coffee Cafe set, and we are going to use our piercing mat to do some of our stamping, and then I will also be using our Big Shot for our project tonight. We are going to use the colors Tranquil Tide for our outline of our coffee cup. Then we are going to stamp the words in the Merry Merlot, which this was my first time using this color. I just got it this week. It's one of the new colors that Stampin' Up! Has right now. And then also we are going to be using the gray granite for our little lid here. So I did do this card once already, trying to prep and get ready. So we are going to do our Tranquil Tide first, and we're going to use this little coffee cup. Let me see if I can show it to you. Here we go. We're going to use this coffee cup, this lid, and then this sentiment inside of our cup. So that is what we're going to use on that, and then we will use the framelits to cut out that one as well. So first we're going to use our Tranquil Tide, and this is an in color that we have until June with this one. And so I'm going to ink up my little coffee cup, and I actually have the lid on the back side. Sometimes if I can't find a block, or I am kind of just in a hurry and don't want to look for one, then I will use both sides of my acrylic block for my stamps. So I'm going to close up my Tranquil Tide because we're all done with that one. And then I'm going to pull out our Merry Merlot. Now this newer ink pad is still a little bit stiff since it's brand new, but it opens just like a compact, and then it just slides together there. So we are going to ink up, and that's still really new, so it might be a little bit bubbly on my stamp there. But I'm going to hold that over and really hope that my head is not in under there. I did practice, but not with a camera. So we're going to put that there. Perfect. And then we will close up our Merry Merlot and just snap it shut there. And then while we have that out, I'm going to open up our gray granite, And I'm going to ink up my lid there. And that one is even more juicy. Look at all those bubbles. The trick that I have found is that if you just put it down on your cardstock and kind of hold it for a couple seconds, that ink will soak right up in to your cardstock and you won't even be able to tell that there were any bubbles there. So now that we have those stamped, I'm going to use my Stampin' Scrub before I get my hands all messy, and I'm going to wash off my stamps and dry them off on the other side, and that way they're clean and won't stain quite as bad. So I love how big our Stampin' Scrub is. I don't know what took me so long to get the new one, because man, oh man, it is amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna move all of these things out of the way really fast. And then we are going to use our Big Shot to cut out these two things. And hopefully it won't shake us all over the place, because my mount is on a different thing. Okay, we might do these one at a time. I did not practice with both of the framelits, so we'll cut out the cup first. Now, if you're really worried about having it line up just right, I typically use my magnetic platform underneath my precision base plate, and I just leave it there all the time. But if you're worried about it moving, you can definitely, here, I might just show you just because. So I just will slide my precision base plate off, and this is the magnetic platform. So that will be first. Now I'm going to grab my clear plate, and that one has never been used, so this is going to be probably noisy using this one. And now I need to find my other one. I might have moved them. So there it is. I found it. This one has been used a little bit more, so I'm going to put this one on the bottom actually. So I'm going to put that clear plate on the bottom, and then I'm going to put our paper and our framelit on there. And because this clear plate is a newer plate, it lays pretty flat, and that magnetic platform just pulls the framelit down onto the magnet for us. So that is super helpful. Now both of these will be able to be cut at the same time. And here's the brand new one. So it'll probably make some noise, but I'm going to run that through. I tend, there you go, you hear it clicking. That is completely normal, by the way, if it makes noise when you're running it through. And if it leaves those marks, I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh, just a little bit in the shine. Those marks are completely normal. As you can see, I use my plates until they're like cracked. I've been using this for a week and a half with this crack in it. And I just usually will use one side or the other, even though the crack is still there. My clear plates probably last me, and I craft probably four or 5 times a week. They will last me for probably a couple of months. And I may be using them like this for one of those months, but they still last. And they're meant to be replaced. And so it is pretty normal for them to be loved like this, and even more loved like this. And I have some even more worked than this one that are put away in a different area that I use mainly just for embossing folders, because on our next card we will be using an embossing folder, and I'll probably use this one with that. So I'm going to set our Big Shot aside for this next part, and we are going to paint our framelit piece. So I'm just going to get this frosted white shimmer paste, or paint. It's not a paste. This is very much just a paint. And what I did with the first one is I took just a normal thin paintbrush, and I actually just used the paint that was in the lid first. And I held my framelit in the middle, and I'm going to do this really carefully because sometimes my shaky hands, my nerves get the best of me and I start shaking on camera. So I'm going to try to do this where I'm not shaking like crazy, but that I'm still doing it where you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of going over the stitched part. And if you can kind of see, it's not a super thick layer of the paint, and the line does not need to be perfect because I am not perfect, nor do I do perfect work. But right on this edge piece, I just kind of take it and drag the paint along the line. And it's even more difficult talking at the same time, so I did not practice that as well. So if you have anything fun you want to talk about, now is the time. Because at least you can be keeping yourself occupied while I attempt to paint this while talking. So I'm just taking the paint and doing it over the stitched part. And when I did it first, I tried to actually get the paint in the stitches as much as possible. It does not have to be super perfect. It's kind of hard to see that part. But just so that it has the shimmer around the edge, that it kind of looks like a frame on its own, I'm going to stick it in the paint just a little bit. Now this paint is going to last me forever because a little bit goes a long way. So I'm going to take that paint and finish spreading it out. I'm trying to get it even. Oh my goodness. And you guys get to see all of my mistakes as I'm attempting to do this. This is just something in the new holiday catalog that I thought looked really fun. So that is what that is going to look like. And we're just going to set it aside to dry just for a little bit. And I'm just going to take a tissue with my paintbrush with that ink in it and just wipe it out of the paintbrush. And then I can rinse it through later just with some water and maybe kitchen soap if it's really sticky. So we're going to let that sit and dry for a second. Another thing I wanted to talk through is I have a really fun item that I got called a Bow Easy, and I actually purchased it from a friend, another Stampin' Up! Friend who lives in Australia actually. So really funny that she's the one who got it to me, but they're actually made out of California. So I got one from Kylie Bertucci from Australia, and I actually won one of them in one of her lives that she did, which was super nice. I had seen her use them a couple of different times, but she purchases a whole bunch of these and then just sells them to her different crafting friends just at cost for what she pays for them, and then for whatever shipping is. And so I have never been great at bow tying. And so I thought this would be such a fun thing to have to practice or learn how to tie a bow that looks pretty every single time. Well, I spent probably a good 40 minutes watching her video today and trying to teach myself how to do bows, and both of my bows look different. So I need more practice, and that is why I did them ahead of time, and you will not be watching me tie a bow with this today. But over time, the more I'd have time to learn, this was the first day that I'd ever pulled it out. These little notches are there to help tie the bow. So this is what our little bow looks like, and it's pretty tiny, and we're just going to use a glue dot on the back of it to tie it, or to attach it to our card. But I just thought I would show what that looks like in case you are also looking for something similar to that. So I was happy that I at least got 2 bows out of it, with how long that it took me to watch that and rewind and watch it and rewind. If anyone else thinks that bows are tricky with that tiny of a size, you are not alone. And I totally relate to you in that. So I'm going to pull out my adhesives, and we're going to start putting this first card together. I have a large, and this one is a little bit broken, but this is a large stamp case that I have put the things that I use the most often, like my bone folder, and some adhesives, and my paper snips, dimensionals, little baby dimensionals, all those things. So we're going to pull out all of those things. I think those are all I need right now. So I like to put all of my adhesives and things in a case like that because I am not often at this same craft desk when I'm crafting, because I have extra littles that sleep in here 4 times a week. So I don't often get to use my place all set up every time. So I'm going to adhere my little lid with glue dots, and I'm going to show you how I'm putting them at the bottom right next to the line there. I'm going to do 3 of them, and then I'm going to put it straight directly on our coffee cup. And then I'm going to take our coffee cup, and I'm going to put it just right at the top of that, and you will be able to see parts. Let's see if you can see them. Can you see those little glue dots? I'm sorry if it's too close. There we go. Sorry if that made you all kinds of dizzy. So I'm going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of this coffee cup, and then it will be ready to put on our card after that. This one I'm going to do 6 dimensionals on there. So my daughter actually went on a youth group trip this weekend and got back at 3 o'clock, so I did not have my normal Sunday nap. So if I sound a little bit more tired, that is why. So I'm going to adhere this layer with our snail adhesive, and we're just going to put this piece directly on our Tranquil Tide in the middle, leaving the same amount, as close as you can, the same amount on each side of that Tranquil Tide, because I really want to show as much of this designer series paper as possible because it is so beautiful and I could not wait to use it. So now that we have that done, we're going to actually measure out some of this adorable mini ruffled Tranquil Tide ribbon, and we are going to put this along the middle. I'm going to snip it off. And so we're going to actually use some just normal Scotch tape to tape this down. And I'm going to do it a little bit under the midway point, just in case that tape is not strong enough. I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so we're going to put it about right there, because I want as much of that flower to show on the side as possible because I love the colors in it. So now that we have that one on, I actually thought it would be really fun to use the silver baker's twine and do a couple of little layers on top of our ruffled ribbon. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and I'm going to tape down right on the end there. And we're going to go around and try to not knock it over the table, and then around, and then, oh, don't fall off, around. Okay, so now we're going to tape, and I'll show that up close here in just a second. So we are going to cut that off right here. And we're not going to use this part for our bow because I attempted to do that with both bows, and it just did not work this time. So we're just going to go with our plain old Tranquil Tide bow, which is going to be perfectly fine. So that is what I wanted to bring, just a little bit of that shimmer from the silver in there. And now we are going to take our adhesive, our snail adhesive, and we're going to go right over the top of that thread, or baker's twine, I suppose. And we're going to leave a little bit of a border on our blushing bride. There. So that is what that is going to look like. And then our paint should be mostly done at this point. Excuse me. So we're going to pop that up with dimensionals as well, but because we have a ribbon on there, we're going to do 3 dimensionals at the bottom and 3 at the top so that our ribbon can go right in the middle there. Thanks, Shelly. I feel like it's been so long since I've had a live, even though I just missed 1 week. I was prepping for this, and I just could hear the tiredness in my voice. So I just put those 3 and 3 on there, and we're gonna put this right there. And that piece is going to face just the normal way, but our cup is going to be at a tilt, just like that. So I just wanted to show, hi Grandma, hi Lynn. I just wanted to show a couple of different ways that you could use this coffee stamp set without having the specialty paper that we had last year when this bundle came out. My fingernails are not wanting to pick up the backings off of these. I just painted them for the first time in like a month. So they're a little bit fresh. Okay, so that is what that looks like when our cup is added there. And so now the only thing that we have left to do is to put our little bow that I made with the Bow Easy. And again, one of these days I will have my practice done enough that I can teach you guys how to do one of those. And I might even get another one to give away as a gift. But that is what we're going to do to adhere our little bow on to our ribbon there. And that is card number 1. So this is what I made earlier. So I have 2 of this one, and that paint just adds the tiniest little touch around that framelit, just to make it stand out a little different than if I would have left it all that same Tranquil Tide color. So that is card number 1. And then our second one is going to be using Blackberry Bliss as our main color. I'm going to set my other ribbon aside out of my way. And we are going to use the Thanks a Latte stamp from this one right here for this card. So we're going to be using Blackberry Bliss and a little bit of the braided linen trim, which is in the new holiday catalog that I really, really like. And we will be using a few of the basic adhesive sequins and one of the doilies. And then this one, I already cut out this part with the Big Shot for our cup because I thought that was so cool. And we could probably use this side, but since our card has got that Blackberry Bliss, we're going to use this one. I also used a piece of 3x4 of the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. I'm trying to make it through this pack, and I'm seriously telling you that this pack lasts so long because of how many different choices there are in this, that it comes with 48 sheets of paper, and I've maybe gone through just over half, and I love it. I use it all the time. I feel like I'm using it constantly, but it never runs out. So that is what we're going to do with this one. But the other fun thing about this project today that we're going to do is we're going to take this Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and we are going to run it through the Big Shot with our Settle. I think that's what it's called. Let me check. We are going to use all kinds of things falling over here. We're going to set that aside, pull our Big Shot out, and that embossing folder is a dynamic textured impressions embossing folder. I don't know if you can see this, but it is super, super cool. Thanks, Teresa. So this is called Settle, and you can see a little bit on there, but because it's so thick for the dynamic textured embossing folder, it really does a deeper impression than it looks like it's going to, but it's super, super cool. So we're going to put our paper, our cardstock, into this embossing folder. We're going to use our regular Big Shot platform, and Blackberry Bliss is probably one of those colors. And I will tell you, the first time I ever used Blackberry Bliss was when I first signed up with Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator. And so before I go into that, I will tell you that it only takes one clear plate with the normal platform because of the thickness of that embossing folder. So I wanted to share that before I forgot. So when I signed up with Stampin' Up!, the in colors that they had at the time were Blackberry Bliss, Hello Honey, Lost Lagoon or something Lagoon. It was like a really pretty bluish color. The Blackberry Bliss and Tip Top Taupe, maybe? I think those were the 5, or Cucumber Crush. Okay, so Blackberry Bliss was one of them. So if you can see this cardstock, it is super subtle, like its name, but it looks so cool when it comes out there. And both sides of it look really, really cool. So this color was one of those in colors, and it was pretty much my must-use color all year. And I think at the time I only had 1 year with it because it had already been there for a little while. And so at that point, I really didn't understand what in colors were, because when I did Stampin' Up! Before that, they didn't just leave and get rid of colors like that after 2 years. And so I was so sad that they were getting rid of that color because it was one of my favorites. So I bought up like 4 packs of cardstock when it was being discontinued, And I made sure I had the refill for the ink pad, and I made sure that I had embellishments because I was going to use this color forever. And so I will tell you that not one of those packs were open again until they re-released the color into this new color family. And so I just like to use new things. And so I learned something about myself, that when things go discounted and they are going to be discontinued, I don't have to buy everything out because I might not use it. So it was a very eye-opening experience, and I was very thankful to have learned that. But it was kind of nice having 4 packs of cardstock when they re-released this color, because I use it all the time. So what we're gonna do with this color, or with these layers, is this is just a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Yes, that is so true. I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that kind of thing. So I will tell you one thing about this cardstock that I would do differently is that I am out of the thick Whisper White cardstock right now, and so it is not quite as thick as I would like it to be. And so our layers on the front will help, but the back is going to feel a little bit more flimsy. So if you're going to recreate this card, I would recommend the thick Whisper White cardstock, which is in my cart and ready to be ordered. But I am out of it right now. So I would definitely do that differently if you are going to get this, if you're going to recreate this card. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take up this piece of the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. We're going to use our snail adhesive, and I just usually will put a layer at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to put it a little on the lower side, just like that. Oh, really? I'm so surprised, Shelly. Yeah, I think it did take me a while before I got the thick Whisper White, but if I'm using it as a base, it really does make a big difference. And so I'm thankful to have learned that I really do like it, especially if I'm creating kits for friends to put together cards. Their cards will hold up a lot better if I send them the thick Whisper White cardstock for the kit. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take one of these really pretty pearlized doilies, and a couple of them still have areas that weren't punched out all the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple little pieces of snail in the middle of that Wood Textures Designer Series paper, and I'm going to put this doily down right in the middle there. And then we're finished with these. And now we are going to use some of this braided linen trim. And this stuff is so, so cool. I have done other cards, which I wish I had one with me right now, where I separate these out and they kind of open up a little bit, and it creates some really fun texture on that. So we are going to use just some normal Scotch tape here. And let me see. Before I tape it down, I want to kind of go crisscross over that circle. So we're going to tape one side down, and then when we're weaving it, we're going to go around and I'm going to flip it just like that. So I'm going to pinch it on this side so that I can show you a little bit like what we're doing there. So that is what it's going to look like. And then I'll show you on the back what it's going to look like too. So I'm going to hold that side, and I'm going to use my tape to tape it down right there. And then I'm going to trim with my paper snips right there on that edge. And that is all of the linen trim we're going to use today. Oh, thank you. High praise, Shelly. I enjoy crafting so much, and I feel like most of it just stays right here in this little room or comes to the office with me every once in a while. But I love doing this, and so I'm so happy to get to share what I'm doing with everybody else. Okay, so now we are going to do a little lid for our card here, and we're going to set that piece aside just for a second. And we are going to pull out our Blackberry Bliss ink, and we're going to stamp. I'm going to move this because it is on the lower side. Okay, so I just put that lid on the top part of my block because for some reason I had put it on the bottom, and that leaves me a little bit less room around the edge to make a mistake, because that happens all the time. And I'm going to pull out my piercing mat because these are photopolymer stamps. And so another thing that I forget to say sometimes is that when you are using photopolymer stamps, which are the clear stamps, when you use your clear block, photopolymer tends to need a little bit more of a cushion underneath of it when you are stamping, because it doesn't have that foam red rubber underneath it. And so I'm going to stamp both of them and hope that I have enough room. So those came out really pretty. So now we're going to pull our Big Shot over, and I'm going to set my messy stamps aside, and I will wash them in a second. So with the photopolymer stamps, they don't have that cushion. So it's best to use your piercing mat or a stamp or a mouse pad. That's what I was going to say. To use a mouse pad when you are, let me see, I'm going to put my plate together again. When you're stamping, if you have that little cushion, it'll come out with a lot better, more clean image there. All right, so I'm going to use this clear plate. So I'm going to put my little images on here. The framelits that I'm using are the lid again. And this time I'm not going to use the same sandwich with the magnetic platform. So we're going to do these one at a time. And I'm going to run that through, just holding that on until it grabbed it. So we'll run that through for the lid. And then we will take the little oval from that framelit set and go around this really cute Thanks a Latte. And I just thought of something that we might try on this card that I did not do on the first one, if I can find the goodies. They have in our catalog these really cute corrugated elements. So this is what that is supposed to look like. So I'm gonna set that down and move my Big Shot again. And then I'm gonna look really fast in this drawer over here to see if I have these corrugated embellishments. That's what they're called, the embellishments. Let's see. I have not used them because I keep forgetting about them. So this would be really cute with that wood textured. There we go. So they're corrugated elements. And they're so cute. So I wonder if this frames. It does. We're totally going to do it. Okay. So these corrugated elements, this is going to look different than my other one. These are so cute. They have some that look like little tea bags, or the tag that goes with the tea bag, or a heart, or those ovals, and we're going to totally use that one. Okay, so it's going to look just a little bit different, but It will not matter that much, I promise. So we're going to take our glue dots here and we're going to put our Thanks a Latte on here. And I'm just putting 2 glue dots on there. And we are going to set that right down. I'm going to pull it up a little. Right in the middle of our little tag there. And since we have our wood texture designer series paper, it will look perfect on there. So we are going to use our glue dots again to do our lid here. And then I try really hard to make these cards easier so they don't look quite as intimidating. Because this is literally, I took the framelit and cut out that coffee cup and did not stamp anything on it. And so I want to show how easy it is to create these cards. The painting thing was a little bit even much for me because I don't tend to do things that tricky on the fly. So even that was not too difficult. So what we're going to do now, we're going to flip this piece over and we're going to use our snail adhesive on all 4 sides because of the embossing folder that we used. We want the whole piece to be stuck down really, really good so that it doesn't lift up. We'll do a few different in the middle just in case. So that is what that looks like with all that adhesive on it. It's very normal. It's okay to have that much adhesive. And we're going to leave just a little border around the edge on our Whisper White cardstock. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pop up our coffee cup because it's so cute. And even the back of that is really, really cute. Anyone can make these just like me. So I was very happy to show them today. Because I don't want those little things to be all over the place, I will try to put them directly in my trash can and not in my coffee cup because that has happened before. I have reached over and thought I was putting it into the trash bin and put it straight into my coffee. Yep, I've done that. All right, so now we're going to put it on where it kind of goes almost top to bottom there. And so that's our cute little coffee cup. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take some snail adhesive, and it might be better with a glue dot. Maybe we'll do both just in case. Just in case that corrugated likes glue dots more than it likes snail adhesive. We'll just cover that base. I'm going to put 4 on and do one at top, bottom, and both sides there, just in case. So we're going to stick that right in the center, or as close to the center as I could. So that is there. And now I'm just going to use my fingernails and hope that I get them off for this cute little sequins. We're going to do 3 because my friend Edna always did things in odd numbers and she just rubbed off on me, and she has been so busy and has not been able to craft live near as much. And so that is one way that I like to think of her and honor her, let her know that I miss her when she's so busy. So these are the cards that we made tonight for this live. I hope you like them. And I went right to an hour, so maybe it's okay that I didn't get another one. Yeah, I know a lot of us really miss her doing her lives on Saturdays. But I know that God knows what she needs and is taking care of her. And I'm just going to keep praying for her because I know that she has a lot of us that really miss that time with her. So every time I do things in odd numbers, I think of her and pray for her. So I love that. I love that connection that I have with her. So these are our projects tonight. I hope you guys love them and I hope you had fun with me here. I don't have anything else. I think I covered most of it in the beginning. But if anybody has any, the item number, oh yeah, sure. That twine is the braided linen trim, and the number is 147808. So this stuff is so, so cool. I have almost gone through a full one, and that says a lot about how much I like it. I think I still have a lot left, but it feels like I've used it a ton. So it's super cool. And it looks really cool when you spread it all out too. I've used it that way too. So if anybody has any questions on the cards that I made tonight, I will try really hard to have them on my blog, and I will post a link underneath this video to my blog that I will put the card recipe on there, as well as some up close pictures if you want to see the pictures up close of this card, or both of them really. Then those pictures will be loaded on tonight as well, depending on how fast my internet is going. So I try to get them on at least by Monday, but it kind of depends on how slow my internet is being. So thanks everybody for joining me tonight, and I hope you have a great week. As of right now, I am planning on going live next week. So in 2 weeks from today, we will be doing our trunk or treat at church, and so I'm going to try to still go live that night, but I am a little bit nervous to commit to it right at this point, so we will see how it goes. But as of right now, next week we will be going live. I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.